TCU adds a 2025 safety to their class, and also new uniforms were unveiled yesterday. We'll talk about all that and more next here on Locked On Horned Frogs. It's your team every day.
You are Locked On Horned Frogs, your daily podcast on the TCU Horned Frogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Horned Frogs, your team every day. I'm your host, Stephen Simcox. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also find us on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe there. We're free and available wherever it is you get your podcast. TCU continues to make waves with their 2025 class. They've had a lot of momentum over the last few weeks, adding a number of players. The latest is Julius Simms. He's listed as an athlete, as a prospect. He's a 3-star prospect according to 247 Sports. He's from Whitehouse High School in the Tyler area, which is where Patrick Mahomes went to high school. So that's cool. I mean, that's just a fun anecdote. But Julius is coming off a really productive junior season and committed to the Frogs. Has a really good offer list. Recently got a Michigan offer from the defending national champs. Also offers from Kansas State, Kansas, Houston, UTEP, UTSA, North Texas. So another player, and it seems like TCU's done a really good job identifying these guys over the last few classes. And there's a good mix at the moment of, I mean, you got some like can't miss, more blue chip players led by Ty Hawkins in this 2025 class. But then you also have guys that maybe they evaluated early or found who don't have, 4 or 5-star ratings necessarily, which I know there are a lot of you that immediately kind of are like, well, that's what you need. But if Michigan thinks this guy can play, if Kansas State thinks this kid can play, then I feel like this is a good evaluation by the TCU coaching staff. And once again, this has been a very defensive heavy so far class of Andy Avalos and new linebackers coach Ken Wilson. There's a big emphasis on edge rushers like Chad Woodfork, who's actually the highest rated player in the class currently. Jared Martin, who recently committed as well. John Schobel, Anthony Williams, Keelan Abrams, who had a super incredible productive year at DeSoto as a junior in one of the better districts in the state of Texas. And now Julius Simms, who stands at 6'2", 190 pounds. He's been a 2-year starter at Whitehouse High School. Last season, he had 59 tackles and 1 pick. That was as a sophomore. In 10 games in 2023, he had 56 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 interception, a forced fumble, and a punt block. And that's something you'll notice when you watch his huddle tape is he's involved in everything, right? Like just one of those guys who's on all the special teams units. He had a punt block. He had either an extra point or a field goal that he blocked. And it makes sense that he would be added to this TCU defense because one thing that we've seen since Andy Avalos took over, there's a huge emphasis on position flex. Guys that can play multiple positions, that can play at different levels of the defense, that can run sideline to sideline, but can also be physical in the box and run support or potentially somebody who can get after the passer from time to time. And when you watch the tape that Simms put up on his huddle page as a junior, you see the more typical safety play where he's playing as a deep safety. You see him at corner spots at times where he's locked up one-on-one on a wide receiver. And then you also see it feels like it's in special instances for the most part, mainly goal line situations where the offense is in a heavy set and there's really no wide receivers on the outside. But there are plays where he's up on the line of scrimmage, like playing in the box, getting off a block, making a tackle. And one thing that I really appreciate about this class defensively so far, the type of players that they've pursued and that they've gone after, it feels like, and this is what you want anytime you put together a recruiting class on the side of the ball, but all these guys are really violent. And I say that in a complimentary way. Like on the football field, they're not afraid to be physical. They're coming downhill, and Simms fits that mold. As he told Jeremy Clark of 247 Sports, who did some reporting on this yesterday, that he's played some corner, he's played some linebacker, mostly he's at that safety position, but that ability to be in the box, be a deep safety, also cover at the point of attack, in a one-on-one situation with that corner spot. That's really intriguing to this TCU defensive staff. And they've gone after players that fit in that mold really throughout this whole recruiting cycle. I mean, you think about a guy like Dylan Arkansas, Denton Ryan, who's currently more your prototypical inside linebacker, but also is someone that they'll use on blitz packages that can come down and be on the edge in different instances. Same story with John Schobel. Right now he's projecting as an edge player at the college level, but he's playing that kind of middle linebacker spot at Columbus High School. And again, with Simms, they're getting a guy who, at least on tape, if you're going to try to run slow developing plays, it's not going to work because he's so fast. He reads well. He flows to the football. And he just finds ways to make things happen behind the line of scrimmage. There are multiple plays on his highlight reel where the offense is trying to get the ball out like on a screen, something quick. Okay, we're trying to get on the edge, get some cheap yards on, first or second down, get 4 or 5 yards, kind of a supplement to the run game by using that quick outside passing game. And Simms just reads it so well that he's able to come downhill quickly. He identifies it. He's beelining over there. He's making a sure tackle, and he's putting that offense behind the chains in early downs, which is what you want from that safety position. So, I think this is a really savvy pickup by the TCU coaching staff. As I said earlier, a very impressive offense. Kansas State, as much as I hate playing them, I respect Chris Klieman a lot. They have a great feel for defense. Obviously, Michigan, they improved their offensive skill positions over the last few years, but what they've done, really what they did throughout the entire Harbaugh era, is put out great defensive players, and that's going to continue. They know how to evaluate on that side of the ball, and they saw Julius Simms and said, that's a dude that can play. We need to have him here. So that's enough for me as far as what he can project as, who he can be, what kind of talent level he has. I think you see the physicality when you turn on the film and that ability to play, multiple positions. So currently that 2025 class, according to 247 Sports, is ranked at 14th in the country. They have 17 commits, 1 quarterback in Ty Hawkins, 3 wide receivers, 3 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, a defensive back now in Julius Simms from Whitehouse High School. So we talked about this at the end of last week. Like it does seem like that 5-7 season really kicked up the urgency for this coaching staff. And maybe also there's kind of a delay in TCU had a really good year a couple of years ago, and possibly that didn't change the minds of a lot of the 2024 players who had already been on a lot of their visits the previous summer, but maybe it left an impression on this class specifically, and you're seeing the benefits of that now with the types of players that they're bringing in. And I think also it just can't be overstated how much kind of energy and enthusiasm Coach Avalos has brought to the defense side of the ball with a new scheme. And that's given them the chance to go get these types of players who might not have thrived as well in the Joe Gillespie era, but with their athleticism, with that ability to kind of play at different levels of defense and be in different spots, it makes a ton of sense for them to be playing for Andy Avalos. So a lot of encouraging things on that front. TCU lands Julius Simms, safety from Whitehouse High School. Excited to see what his senior year looks like and what he's able to do this upcoming season. And now TCU continues to have a top 15 class in the country in 2025. Now that's going to change a little bit because a lot of these kind of big name blue chip players will make decisions probably later on in the summer or into the fall, later on in the process. But they're number 1 in the Big 12 right now. And I think that's the biggest priority. Can you find a way to beat Texas Tech, Arizona State, UCF, Oklahoma State? These are the schools that are, jockeying for position in the new look Big 12 and trying to find their place and be the ones that are taking over. And TCU has a really good chance to cement themselves as possibly a regular contender by putting talent on the field on a year in, year out basis. They've done a really good job of that in the transfer portal since Sonny Dykes took over. And hopefully now we're seeing, them turn the corner a little bit and more consistency with the high school classes as well. When we come back, TCU unveiled new uniforms yesterday. We'll talk about that and more next. It's Locked On Horned Frogs, your team every day. Always good when I'm able to name the sponsor after a recruiting segment because it's the perfect segue. LinkedIn Jobs. If you need people for your small business, hiring can be a real crapshoot. It's tough to do. You want to find the right folks that not only fit the job well, but also fit the culture of your company. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. You can post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. LinkedIn Jobs, they're the #1 job board and make it super easy for you. They serve billions of professionals each and every day. If people are looking for work, they're looking on LinkedIn. That's where you need to be. If you're trying to hire, they have simple screening questions and other tools that help you weed out candidates so you don't have to sift through thousands and thousands of resumes. LinkedIn Jobs, 86% of small businesses find a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Again, 86% of small businesses find a quality candidate within 24 hours. Don't trust anybody else. Don't leave it up to chance. Use LinkedIn Jobs. Find who you need for your company. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. Post your job for free at LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege. So there was a surprising announcement. It actually started bubbling up on Father's Day on Sunday. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Belated Father's Day. I hope it was good for you and your family. TCU football Twitter account, maybe it was TCU Athletics Twitter account, put out a short video that kind of showed the history of TCU football from the Dutch Meyer, Sammy Ball days through LT and the Rose Bowl, going to the national championship game, all that, right? And they said, hey, 8:17, which I'm guessing is a reference to the 817 area code. At 8:17 on Monday, we have a special announcement for TCU football. So there was some speculation, but pretty quickly people kind of narrowed it down to, hey, maybe the Frogs are getting new uniforms from Nike. And I'm typically a sucker for new uniforms. Like just about anything, I'm on board with it. We've sort of transitioned from an era of, and Oregon kind of led the way with this for a long time. I don't remember what the timeline of it. I feel like the Dennis Dixon era was when I started noticing it, but there was a 4 or 5 year period where it felt like Oregon had a new uniform each and every week. And it was more and more loud and had all these crazy designs on it and accents on it. And it was just very out there and it became a huge part of their brand. And maybe it helped them in recruiting. Like I think what helped them in recruiting was that Chip Kelly was there and he put together an incredible offense that was ahead of the curve at the time. And they had guys like Dennis Dixon and Marcus Mariota and others who came through who were just really productive players for them. But it helped build their brand there in the Pacific Northwest and made them a school that was a desirable place to play. And I remember, for some reason it sticks out in my mind, but one year Maryland played on Labor Day and they had a deal with Under Armour. And they came out with these just really weird uniforms. It was an homage to the Maryland state flag. And so they had like the state flag on the shoulder pads. The helmet was very busy. There's stuff everywhere, but I actually liked those. And I really enjoyed that era of uniform design, whatever you want to call it. And Nike, for whatever reason, I don't know if they're just giving a lot of NIL money to Oregon now and they don't have the ability to spend a lot of time and effort on designing uniforms, but they've gotten really simplistic and simple with their uniform designs as of late. Recently, Baylor did kind of a redesign, and it was almost like the Color Rush NFL jerseys. So I didn't know what to expect when this got unveiled, but here is the latest uniform situation that we're looking at for TCU football. If you're watching on YouTube, I put a picture up here. So you got all white with the purple numbers, white helmet. You got all purple with what looks like a purple chrome helmet, and then an all black uniform with a chrome black helmet. And they're just really, they're really simplistic. It looks very similar to that color rush kind of style that I was telling you about earlier. It's just kind of one color all the way through the uniform, and the jersey numbers are different. There's a few cool features with the helmets. There's some details like on the back of the jersey. I think they put Carter Boys on the back of like the neck there, which was cool. But overall, really simple. And it looks clean. But I'll say this. I'm pretty underwhelmed by it overall. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on YouTube today, or you can tweet at me at Steven. What do you think about the new uniforms? I like the all purple look because one of my gripes through the years with TCU is that I think purple is a great color. It's unique. It's cool. I think it looks really good in person. TV, it can kind of come off more blue, but I just think it looks really sharp. And I think it's a great school color. And I don't feel like the football team wears enough purple week in and week out. But I got to be honest, guys. Now, I said this on Twitter yesterday. Ultimately, if they win a bunch of games, I don't care. Wear whatever you want. But these are not very cool to me. Now, I will say the helmets are pretty awesome. The uniforms themselves, I can appreciate the simplicity of it, but it's not doing a lot for me. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it, though. I'll put up this black chrome helmet. Now, that looks cool. And sorry if you're just listening to the audio version of this on the podcast and you're not getting the visual, but I like this helmet. There's an awesome, purple TCU letters on this visor here. There's also a gray chrome helmet, which looks awesome. So the helmets are nice, but the jerseys themselves and the pants, super underwhelmed with it. And somebody tweeted at me yesterday, and they're like, I told you TCU should have dropped Nike as their kind of preferred uniform design brand and apparel company. And I was basically like, listen, man, I can't even get my 2-year-old to put his shoes on. I don't have that kind of power. And yeah, maybe, I honestly don't have a great feel for what Adidas is doing with space right now. I know the Jordan brand is becoming more and more popular with schools, but man, I'm not a fan of these. Now, Clint Foster pointed out that we survived this era, which was like the camo pajamas. These are gray camo pants, camo jerseys. This was 2015, and that's a game against Kansas that I wish we could all wipe from our memory because Frogs really struggled. Trayvon Bookie got hurt in that ball game, and they won, but it was an ugly 11 a.m. matchup against the Jayhawks in late November. But yes, we did survive that. I remember, I graduated in the spring of 2015, and I feel like at the spring game in 2015, they had the game at the Carter. After the game, they unveiled the new uniforms, just like on mannequins in the end zone. And I remember seeing the camo and being like, what the heck is this? Which, in fairness, that's kind of the creativity and I guess outside the box thinking that I'm wishing was here with the newest uniform rebrand. But, man, I'm just not feeling it. And then someone put together a side-by-side of this was the old ones, the ones they've been wearing the last few years, and then the new ones. And, yeah, it just looks very different. I really like the ones they were wearing. Like this one that Duggan's wearing here, if you're watching on YouTube, with the purple jersey, the black pants, the purple helmet, looks really sharp. And then the all black and the all white looks really good too. But there's some different kind of designs and things going on that make it all come together. So, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on the YouTube channel. Like I said, ultimately, I'm just here for TCU to win games. So if they're able to do that, then I'm all for it. But I came away kind of unimpressed with the latest in the uniform game from Nike and from the Frogs. with the new redesign. But we'll see how it looks on the field, see how it looks on TV. Maybe it'll be better. I'm sure we'll all get used to it eventually, but not a huge fan of the latest change they've made there. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. I was going to go to audience reaction, but actually I need to get to some baseball news that happened over the weekend. So we'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Horned Frogs. It's your team. We do it here each and every day. FanDuel, they're one of our great sponsors. Summertime means baseball and more. You can bet on it all at FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's right. If you win one $5 bet, you get $200 in bonus bets if you're a new customer. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon, or they have an easy-to-use app. FanDuel is where the game starts. $200 in bonus bets with one winning $5 bet. I think I mentioned this on Friday, but TCU, they didn't part ways with TJ Bruce. TJ Bruce, hitting coach, has been hitting coach here for a couple seasons. He got a head coaching job at Long Beach State. So he's moving on, taking a different opportunity. Obviously, it's promotion for him, chance to do his own thing, be a head coach, which is cool. And I don't know all the reasons why. It didn't really seem to work here for TJ at TCU. I mean, obviously he knows baseball. I don't think he forgot how to coach. I think the biggest deal was I'm not sure his personality really meshed with the team. And I don't have a great explanation for that, but it just felt like this season there were some guys coming back. I mean, even Anthony Silva, who was coming in with like first round MLB draft type of the year. He put together a year that I think by his standards were pretty disappointing. Carson Bowen struggled this season after a really impressive freshman year at plate. Curtis Byrd started to come on, show a lot of power. I think the last season, this year just didn't put it together. So TJ Bruce moving on, and TCU quickly hired a replacement. Felt like they knew exactly who they're going after, and it's because it was a familiar face. Bill Mosiello, who spent the last 2 seasons as head coach at Ohio State, he's coming back. So Bill's back, which means Frogs are going to be aggressive on the base pass. They're not going to play small ball. They're going to try to drive the ball, take a lot of pitches, work counts, and wear pitchers out. And that's been a strategy that was super successful for them for a number of years under Bill. I don't know. I feel a little conflicted about it. I think it makes sense. It'll be an easy transition. And I do believe Bill has more of a calming presence in the locker room with the team. And so that could be a benefit. I also can't help but think that sometimes the simple hire is a good one, but man, I feel like TCU is a great brand when it comes to baseball. They have great respect across the nation. I just believe there's a lot of people that will be interested in that job. And it feels like they just went and got Bill because he was ready to come back home. He was with family. Kendall Rogers said his family's still here in the Lido area, and he wanted to be back. But I'm surprised they didn't kind of cast a wider net and just see what the interest level was going to be across the country. But Bill has done a good job through the years, and he definitely knows how to coach baseball. And so hopefully this is a good fit. But TJ Bruce out, Bill Mosiello in as the hitting coach. And he was here for a long time, and they went to 4 straight College World Series under his watch as hitting coach. So he knows how to do it. I was just, again, maybe a little underwhelmed by how it all shook out. We'll be back tomorrow. It's Locked On Horned Frogs. It's your team every day.